In 3, 2. Oh yeah, I think it's starting. All right, yeah, it started. It's kind of there's like a little delay between OBS and YouTube. The way they sync and stuff, so it's like a little bit. But yeah, I think we live now. We live. We are live. What's going on, man? You remember that sound effect I used to have, J Dog?
Back in the day?
Yeah, that doom. That like, I miss that sound effect, man. I really miss it. I gotta get it back. That sound effect was popping. Everybody knew when the podcast was starting. It was like a gong or some shit.
Yup.
Oh, there's a dude in the chat. His name is Post Doesn't Like Vagina. Yo, that shit is funny.
Oh,
no. This is already, man. Oh shit, what's up? Yeah, what's up, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers? Welcome back to another episode of 60 Frames No Lag podcast. Of course, we got the crew up in here. We're gonna have some truthful conversation, like my boy and good friend Optimus said. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's what you're gonna get today. That's the topic. That's what you're gonna get. In a world full of fraudulent dudes who's out there robbing people's money, selling shit that don't exist. It's just crazy that we live in this world, man. But before we get to it, let's get to the players, man. Hey, J-Dub, man, how's everything going?
Everything good, man. Can't complain, man. Got my PS5s, so I'm good.
You got greatness. That's good. It. What else? You got the bangers.
That's all I want.
Got the best versions, which we need. That's like icing on the cake. Like we didn't even ask for that.
Facts. That's a special treat.
You know what I'm saying? That's like you go to a restaurant, man, right? You get a nice steak dinner, right? And you go there because of the steak dinner, right? So you eat a steak dinner, you got your appetizers, and then like, man, I'm good. He's like, well, hold on, sir. Would you like, compliments of the house, a delicious dessert, and some coffee? Compliments of the house.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can fit. I got room to fit free for a free cheesecake and coffee. I got room. You know what I'm saying? Compliments of the house. You know what I'm saying? Thank you very much. Compliments of the house. That's what it feels like, man. Hey, thanks for rocking out. Optimus.
What up?
My man, you tried to tell him. You know what I'm saying? Bro. Listen. Hey, to the chat, let me tell you something. Optimus was actually sent to go against me. He was sent to defeat me. You know what I'm saying? The gods saw what was happening to these Xbox, and they say, we cannot let this continue. We're going to send their only son, Optimus. Right? Optimus came from the heavens, right? He came from the heavens to help these Xbox dudes out. He's like, I will give you the secret weapon to defeat Portorock, right? And he said, and the weapon is truth. And they looked at him and spat at him. And I came Optimus, all right? You just didn't know the scriptures. Let me introduce you to Portorock 3:16. All right. And my man read the scriptures, and he realized the truth was out there.
Man, I ain't even got nothing to say because that's almost exactly what happened.
You know what I'm saying? He too, Optimus didn't realize that I too believed in the same gods, and I believed in truth. I was just a simple carpenter who believes in truth. That's all I am. A simple carpenter.
Man, that's hilarious. That is definitely hilarious. That's what happened. Hey, Rock, you had did a video. You might not remember it, but you had did a video of like your history on YouTube, why you came to YouTube. And you was like, all these Xbox dudes was just killing the PlayStation dudes in these debates and podcasts. And so you came on and then you had a successful defense of PlayStation, then another and another. And then they just kept wanting you to debate these dudes and go back and forth. So I started like digging up them videos, like trying to find them. And you had like said some names, and I was like trying to find these names. And I was watching you on Twitter. And I was like, man, he keeps winning because they like he is arguing from a position of strength. And they arguing from like a wish list. Like, I need to help them. I need to give them more knowledge so that they can stand against him. And them bastards didn't want to hear nothing I had to say. And the whole time, Rock, and the funny part is, you was like, "Hey, bro, they not gonna listen to you. Like, all they see is you making Xbox look bad, and they're gonna jump in and blindly defend Xbox." And I was like, "No, man, you got to be patient when you're teaching people technology." And he was like, "Man, I'm gonna watch you. We'll see." And I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna stick with it." God damn it! Lo and behold, the man that I came to help them defeat is the one that was trying to protect me from them.
Facts.
Oh my god!
I remember Optimus had like a 50-page tweet. I'm like, yo, and he's trying to like convince this dude, and I'm like, bro, you're not gonna convince him. Like, yo, you're like 50 tweets deep.
Exactly.
Like, yo, they lost, man. Yo, it's crazy, man. But it's good. How's everything, Optimus, man? How's your gaming time?
Everything's great, man. Holidays was good. Family safe and sound.
Good night,
yeah,
man.
everything is lovely. Playing on that PS5. It just the only problem I had was I had to fight spending time with the family versus spending time with the PS5.
Man,
that was it.
Right, and that's a hard choice.
Bro.
You're like, baby, time is up. You gotta get with that PS5. I gotta get with the new.
Man.
You know, this PS5 is not gonna play by itself.
Yep. Facts.
Hey, did you play Godfall? I started playing Godfall, so we need to team up.
Not yet, man. I got it. As soon as I finish Watch Dogs, I'm gonna jump on that Godfall.
I saw that tweet. You know, like J-Dub better be right.
Hey, I'm expecting J-Dub to be able to power level me by the time I jump on there.
I'm already at level 10. I jumped to level 10, and I just barely did anything. Because the combat's good.
2.5 hours last night.
Yeah.
So I think I'm level 19.
Yeah, the combat's nice. The combat's really nice, man. The melee combat.
People keep saying it's trash, and I'm going to be disappointed. I'm like, they said it's good, so I'm going to trust his word.
If you like melee combat, right? Yeah. And here's another thing, like because obviously
like
when you
Diablo,
start,
what you mean?
No, like God of War. It's close to God of War. It's close to God of War.
Really like God of War.
Okay, yeah.
Like God of War. It's close to God of War. I think they copied God of War, to be honest.
Of course I like that combat.
They did.
So the combat, yes. So they pretty much combat. Yeah,
stuff.
they pretty much copied God of War's combat, the new one. So that's it. So imagine playing that.
Beautiful graphics.
Great graphics. I just started, so
it's a looter shooter. It's like
so it's like Destiny, but no guns. It's no guns. You're using swords, and you're building up your skill tree.
It's well done. Mm-hmm. It's balanced. It's got good loot drops, all that good stuff.
That's the key. How long will playtime last? You know, how much content's in it, and how fast you can get new content up and stuff. And they haven't talked about a raid, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a raid.
Yep, they're definitely going to. They say long term they're going to keep supporting it and adding content. But
that's the key, man. Hopefully they do it, man. I'm enjoying it because it's not a shooter, so I kind of like.
It's a Gearbox game, so if you used to Gearbox games, then it's a mixture between God of War, Borderlands 3, and a bunch of in Destiny. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not into those games, then I mean, you probably shouldn't be playing that game.
You came back out now. You told me.
That's it. My man paid his money. That's it. He put his money in. That's it.
I told Optimus, I said, hey man, it's like blue magic. I guarantee it.
It's blue magic. I mean, the reality is, it's just like it's not a copy paste shooter. So I like the fact that it's melee.
Yeah.
So at least
it's unique. That's what's up.
So it's unique in a way. So I appreciate it. Hey, yo, Craig, man, were you able to get the bag?
I may have an update here pretty soon. I'm more upset over my SSD being MIA, but I don't know about that bag. It's usually getting updates, but I've heard good things about the bag, so we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen.
Come on, Craig, we need you on this team, man.
Trying to get the bag.
I don't know but Craig, you need to get the bag. We need to get that bag.
Again, if I have to wait till next year, that's fine. It's just the bag goes on sale when I'm either at work or I don't have bad cash. But I did pretty well on Black Friday. I got MLB The Show, and I got a Madden, and I got.
Didn't they sell it for like $10? MLB The Show 2020 it was like $10.
Was $10? Yes, I got that. So I did fine. I'm just gonna do my backlog, and the bag shows up. Great. Hey, so if it doesn't.
Man, hopefully, man. How come you don't get an air mattress and wait outside?
that was crazy.
You saw that? Saw them pictures?
Yeah, and I can't make fun of that because when I went and saw
only PlayStation make people do that.
Yeah, I saw episode 1 of Star Wars. A bunch of us camped out because this is before the time of reserved tickets and stuff like that. So we camped out for a day.
There's camping out, and then there's what these
These
dudes brought out whole furniture out there, yo.
Yeah. I mean,
pajamas.
Yeah. Yep. And he didn't give a damn, but he made national news. So I mean, he was on like CNN and MSNBC and C-SPAN. That's C-SPAN, but
that dude had a king size air mattress, taking up the whole sidewalk, taking up a whole. He had comforters, linen. Throw pillows. The dude had a throw pillow. Like, yo, he really thought that was his house and shit.
Yeah, he got out of bed and made it up before he went in the store.
Yeah. Yo, and then he had to tear it down again. I never seen anything like that before, but yeah, that's something else. So shout out to everybody that got one, because they said people were just kind of waking up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and checking things, and they would have one. I'm like, I don't want one that bad where I'm gonna just wake up and try to get one.
Craig, I don't like your casual attitude.
Yeah, man, you gotta go hardcore, dog. Listen, Craig. If you can't get a PS5 by ordering it, this is what you do: go on Amazon, get a ski mask, get $150 Desert Eagle, and then you just roll up on somebody. There you go, boom! You get a PS5 for $200.
But look, I got a PS4. It took me till like March of 2014 because it was just too hard to get. So, and this is actually harder. So,
really?
I blame everybody. I blame the scalpers. I blame the fact that Sony just needs to put those things in stores. But it is what it is.
The problem is, it's a perfect storm of just shittiness because of COVID. Yeah. They want to sell the stuff more online than in stores. If we didn't have COVID, we wouldn't be having an issue because most of the stuff would have went straight to stores off the shelf.
Correct.
And then the scalpers would be screwed because, bots, there's nothing the bots could do.
Yeah, keep in mind, right? Because of COVID, they shut down China and other places where they were actually manufacturing these things. That shut down for months, right? So they're already months behind on production, and then they probably still hadn't cranked up the actual locations and stuff full blown. Plus, there's a resurgence. It looks like in a lot of areas. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm just lucky and blessed that I was able to secure mine. So.
They got to find a way. I mean, the only way to resolve this is they have to start selling in the stores for pickup. Because as long as they strictly stick to our line, these bots are going to buy everything up.
Yeah. But see,
or they got to find a better way to secure, like maybe lock it to just one, like, let's say like Walmart, right?
Yeah.
They record the credit card to PS5 purchase, so then when they detect the same credit card purchase another PS5, it locks it out. Like something like, this credit card's already been detected for PS5 purchase, cannot buy another one. Some shit.
I was going to say, because you got to think of it this way, right? Because of COVID, you don't want these big long lines outside your store and all these people there. And that kind of defeats the purpose. So
yeah, but it's
I really don't know, like, how much more they can do or, it sucks all around.
Yeah, man. It sucks. Shout out to J Hart. Thank you for the super chat. He says Xbox already starting to show up on shelves. Oh shit! Oh shit!
We saw that.
I need to go get one.
Well, I will say this: you'll probably get an Xbox. Xbox will be more readily available faster than PS5, only because I think
the demand. It's the demand.
It's the demand, and Xbox didn't do a good job of creating the demand. The one thing that they tried to do utterly blew back in their face, which was the power narrative.
Yeah.
They don't have it. Even though it is still 12 T-flops, they don't. They can't go out there. Like, this Xbox Twitter account no longer talks about having the best version of games. They no longer say those statements.
That's good. That's good.
They stop. Yeah, because they can't say that no more.
Like Mikey Barber said, he said, stop talking about the power and overhyping this stuff. Let the games do the talking, because what you're going to do is put the developers in a lose-lose situation where people are going to be underwhelmed because you put them in the box where they didn't say that you were going to be able to have this or that. but you put them in a box and then you disappoint yourself.
Great point.
So,
Optimus.
Yeah.
So let's say Optimus. So let's say right now you're working with a big third party publisher, right? And you're a lead developer, right? And you make games you're making a big game, a big AAA game, right? You're making it for Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox Series S, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, PS4, PS4 Pro, and PS5, right? And PC, right? And then you hear Aaron Greenberg, who's not even a developer, coming out, talk about your game, and he's saying this game's going to run best on Series X. How would you take that?
On the dev team?
No, you personally see that. You see on Twitter, right? And then also Aaron Greenberg retweets your tweet, and he says your game will run best on Series X.
Oh, I wouldn't like that at all.
And you're sitting there like, the fuck is this dude doing? Because wouldn't that put you, like, you're not his first party. You work for a third party developer, so you don't work for Microsoft. Doesn't that put you in a box? Like, he's promising something.
Of course it does.
Like, doesn't that put you in a box? Like, what the fuck is he talking about?
It absolutely does, unless we had already had prior conversations and he understood from our dev team that his platform was giving us certain advantages that we could take advantage of. But in the absence of that, no, him just coming out of the blue and making a declaration for me and my team, no, that's
Especially, and what if your team just because of technology you prefer the PS5, you found it easier to make it versus his stuff. He doesn't know that, right?
But that won't really factor into it, but that is true.
Yeah, he doesn't know which teams prefer what. Like, it's not like he sits down and have a conversation. Hey, do you like our kids or PS5 kids? They're gonna look at him like, what the hell is he talking about?
Unless Aaron Greenberg dropped the bag.
And that's it. Hey, he dropped that bag.
He dropped that bag. Hey, Cole, you better give that PS5.
Yo, one of the funniest tweets. That reminds me of the tweet J-Dub did. What's that dude from Epic?
Tim Sweeney. Yeah, Tim Sweeney.
Yeah, Tim Sweeney. So when Tim Sweeney came out, this was before we found out about the money Sony and Epic did, but Tim Sweeney came out, he goes, PS5, best in class architect, whatever. And then like a week later, we found out that Sony and Epic had like a $250 million deal. So J-Dub tweeted,
bought into it.
So Tim Sweeney, so J-Dub retweeted Tim Sweeney and put, when that $250 million hit different. Yo, that shit put everything into context. And then you hear Tim Sweeney, best in class hardware. Yo, that shit was funny. That was probably one of the funniest shit I seen J-Dub ever do. Exactly. When that $250 million hit different. And then you see Tim Sweeney talking about best in class hardware, PS5 is great. All right, let me shout out the chat. Let me shout out the chat real quick. Hey, shout out to the chat. We got Raven Guard. And don't forget to hit the like button. But we got Raven Guard. Yeah, that's right. You caught us live. Call me Jay. One Stop for Sports was good. Javon, what's up? Post doesn't like vagina.
Oh man.
Yo, D.I. Almighty Spartan, what's up? Moby was good. Game Now. Also, we got T. Beckett, Immortal Black, Jamie, what's up? Savage Jr., Max B, Cryptopsy was good. Of course, J Hart, 12T Flops, Tower of Power. What's up? Yo, Heath Stevens, Soldier for Life. What else we got on here? Big Jeffrey, welcome. Mr. Hunadam. Man, you guys really testing my literary skills. Adrian, what's up? What else we got here? Don't forget to hit the like button. Sneaky Snake, what's up? D-Mello, what's good? Ricky, what's up? Who else we got down here? Fatal Charade, my bad. Carell Anchor. Yeah, we live. We definitely live. Who else we got? David T, Neo Agosto, Mario Heat, Neo Wise. Thank you for rocking out. And then we're going down. For Real, Ethan. And A Chili Breeze. These are some creators have names that we got over here. Who else we got? There we got. I think that's it. Oh, Edgy. What's up? Damn, welcome aboard. And here we go. Triple JJJ. Okay. Neil Wise. Yo, what's up? Link, what's good? That boy Young, you a rapper? Give me that mixtape. Marcus Grant, AK247 was good. Who else we got? Post Up. Whole panel thoughts. I'm out. Have a great show. Fuck. Yo, where you at? Where you at, Post? God damn, I gotta get Post on the show. I gotta get Post on the show. I gotta get him on the show. He definitely gonna get. I'm gonna get him on the show. We gotta take him to court.
Yeah,
we gotta take you to court. You got charges to answer up to. Shadow the Ghost, what's up? What's up? And we got David Schimmeyer, what's up? Odown Productions, Duran. Man, this room is Cosmo. Damn, this room is full. Duran Preview. I think I got everybody. Hit the like button. We got a full room, and we're gonna kick it. All right. So we're gonna start off with the topic of the day. First topic: PlayStation 5 still outperforming Xbox Series X. Even after the patch was of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, PS5 is still outperforming. I think the one game that Xbox Series X partially outperformed PS5 was Call of Duty. The ray tracing 60 frame 4K mode fares better on Xbox Series X.
So that's ray trace shadows.
Ray trace shadows. That is true. Ray trace shadows. And then but the 120 FPS mode, PlayStation fares better.
With the frames, yeah.
And I think that's the mode most people are going to play, or that can play it in the multiplayer. Because everybody wants those frames in the multiplayer, but only if you have the TV to do it. So here's the thing. So here's a real question, right? Because this topic is gonna go on week to week, right? Because one is good troll bait from the PlayStation guys. The trolls are all over it, and it pisses the Xbox guys off. It pisses them so off that and you know what? Let me show you that they're already starting to lie over this. So there you go. So you can check. So Craig, you could check the screen.
Yeah. I'm looking at it.
So they're already lying.
Why had a rhetorical question? Why are people surprised that the PS5 is outperforming the Xbox when neither one of them had a template or a mode that they could go by? What were they going by? If you say they were going by the T-flops, like Michael Corleone said, I'll be disappointed, because everybody said don't use teraflops. And the other question, this is rhetorical, is AMD. This is the first time AMD with their quote big Navi. And people were comparing it to NVIDIA. Now, I'm not a NVIDIA guy. I think they smoke crack for what they charge people. I think that's a crime. But why were they comparing AMD stuff, which isn't as good, to NVIDIA's? I mean, again, that's just, and then they did podcasts on this. I don't
take that one.
I think, I think because Digital Foundry tried to find some kind of the closest, I guess, device or card that they could that reached those certain benchmark levels. And so at the time, we didn't have the 6800 or the 6800 XT or the 6900 XT out. From that, so that's why they said, well, it's on the level of a 2070 and stuff like that. Even though it was an NVIDIA card, even though it has AMD hardware in there. The problem with that is before these systems launched, a lot of fanboys tried to say the X Series X was the equivalent or more powerful than a 2080 Ti. Due to the T-flop count and due to early benchmarkings and stuff like that. But when reality comes out, right, is when these systems drop, people get their hands on it, Digital Foundry get their hands on it, you get a whole different story. You get a whole nother ball game, and now we're seeing what's going on. And shout out to Optimus, but
hold on, Jay, didn't I seen somebody say that Digital Foundry didn't get a PlayStation because Sony was scared to give it to them.
They didn't have confidence.
Bad.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was that, and there was some other guy saying that Sony was totally taken back by the power of the PS5. I think something technology-wise that people really got to look at, and I had two developers tell me this, it is the AMD Smart Shift technology, the way it's being implemented in the PlayStation. That's what's really going on, is that is that the variable clocks that everybody mocked, because they like variable rate shading, they chubbed themselves up to that. They chubbed themselves up to variable, what else? The other one, the VRR, VHS, STD, STI, all these acronyms that they were getting happy about. But that smart chip technology, that is actually bringing budget over from the GPU to the CPU and vice versa. So that it's always going to run better. It will always run better.
Let me stop you right there, Craig. That ain't it.
Yeah, it is. But again, I just think people should look into that, and that doesn't seem to be getting enough water. That's a big time thing to what Sony was able to implement with AMD. But I don't understand, because everybody here is in a business. I mean, poor Rod, you serve. They can come up to you and say, "Soldier, this rifle was going to blow a tank away." And you're not gonna be like, well, where's your demonstration at? Oh, well, it's got this on it, it's got that on it. It's like, well, this doesn't matter until I actually physically see the rifle blowing the tank away.
Yeah, you gotta do trial runs.
Yeah, and they didn't. My whole thing is that how could you know what AMD's Foundry was going to do when you had nothing to measure it against? I mean, I don't care. Like, I work in the medical field, and somebody can show you an X-ray, like, well, this look. Go in there and look, because maybe it's not what we think it is. I don't. It just shows you to me. It shows you the ignorance of some people and willing to follow.
Hold on, Craig. It's not really ignorance.
What is it?
I mean, in its purest form, it's not ignorance, because it's the same thing. It's on paper specs, right? It's like on paper, and it is reasonable to accept that if these numbers are true, then this is what we should expect. If you're looking at like a component, right? So, for example, the 3080 just came out. Nobody had one.
Correct.
The 3090 also came out. Everyone accepted that the 3090 is more powerful than the 3080. Why? They never touched it. They never had it. Like, it's just reasonable to assume that, given that these are the same architectures and this is a higher flop count, that this thing is then more powerful than the one underneath it. That makes perfect sense.
All right, Cole, with all due respect, my coach and my football coach would have told you assumption is the mother of all fuck-ups.
Sure,
you should never
stand. So
but that's ignorant. That is ignorant.
That's not ignorant, Frank. That's because you right now already accept that the 6900 XT is going to be better than the 5700 or whatever it is.
No, I don't. Not until I see it tested. I don't know what it's going to do.
Then you're an idiot if you don't accept that the higher card should perform better. That's not the problem. The problem isn't expecting that devices in the same architecture, the higher one will perform better. The problem is expecting that you can measure the strength of an entire system by one component.
Yeah. Well, I don't disagree with that, but that's ignorance. When everybody around you, the developers, the engineers, are saying, well, that's just part of it. It's like, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, it's like if we design a car.
Right on that part.
Yeah, but Code, if we design a car, we can put it up on paper, we can 3D map it out, and you swear up and down it's going to go 170 miles per hour. And you tell everybody that, and then you test it on the track 3 times a day, different pressures in the air. You put Michelin, Firestone, and Goodyear on there, and you get the car to 158 miles per hour. And but the specs are telling you, the design is telling you, well, it should do this. But they're going to say we have to show it to us. You have to have a test run. I don't understand this, man.
So let me help you out. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. So I'll say this: the problem, when you see specs, right? Because specs are numbers, right? And the numbers are supposed to result. Right. It is nothing wrong with assuming based on numbers. Like if you look at a car, right, and the cars are similar in design, nothing too tricky, right? They both have, a V12 engine. They both have high performance rack pinion steering, but one engine's pushing, 900 horsepower, and the other one's pushing 650 horsepower. then just by looking at the specs and design of the car, you could say, yeah, this car might end up being better, faster than this one, right? Yeah, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that assumption. What's wrong is look at the screen.
Yep.
And read all that shit.
Yeah.
That's where the bullshit comes.
Yeah.
That's all bullshit. Because it's all lies. That's what the problem is. People couldn't keep the conversation, mature, just be real. Hey, Xbox has 12 T-flops. PlayStation's doing variable 10 T-flops. Chances are Xbox Series X games might be better, but Sony's trying to do something different. We'll see how it goes. Odds are that Xbox may have the better version of multiplats. And the conversation could have just been at that. But instead, you had this. For example, Gollum, he says, but people should get ready for the really real possibility that the PS5 is going to end up being the more expensive console between the two. I'm trying not to say much here, and I was asked not to, but prepare yourself, which does put Xbox X in a position it will be the less expensive and more powerful console. I use RE8 as an example, but I heard from other devs that PS5 struggles with 4K games in particular, so you'll see a lot of fake 4K. That doesn't matter to some, but get ready for that too. Xbox X doesn't have the same problem. Now keep in mind,
1188p.
but now look but look at the date of the tweet. August 12th, 2020. Okay. That is a month. That is 2 months after, supposedly, when Xbox got their kits, which they're having trouble with. So who's he talking to? Talking to that gave him all that info? When supposedly the kits were delivered late, and you're not going to get these high performance games because they still have to work with tools and all that.
Yeah. So
the answer is he lied. All that shit is lies. Yeah. It is 100% lie. And then the next guy, Chris Grinnell, March 22nd of 2020. This is early in the year. I chatted to a few devs and they have confirmed the power difference is quite staggering. However, they have said it doesn't mean you can't make good games on PS5. These fanboys clearly don't care about that and are massively rattled. Who he talked to in March that made that statement? When they didn't even have the dev kits till June. According to people,
that's true.
He talked to nobody because if it's
Chris telling the truth.
Who he talked to?
I think so. Yeah, oh my god!
You think somebody in March told him, "Yo, this power is ridiculous"? In March, when they don't even have the dev kits to actually utilize it. Really?
Absolutely.
Oh my god!
Absolutely.
Really?
But that's the way it works, right? So the way you start out is with a PC that has been spec'd to match what you anticipate the specs of the new hardware is going to be.
Like they did with Halo.
Yeah, or what every game does that, like when it's new. Okay. Like with the beginning of a new generation, with new hardware, like every game does that. You start out on PC and you try to simulate what the specs are going to be. But because there's no big Navi cards and stuff, you use it with NVIDIA, right? So like everybody, like you remember Digital Foundry's like, okay, this approximates like a 2080 or 2080 Super. Now they're saying it's like a 2060. Because all of that's on PC.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to get it on the actual device itself. On PC, it is very reasonable to expect that the early tests using NVIDIA graphics cards led people to believe that if this approximates this card and if this approximates this card and all other things being equal, this will make quite a difference. And again, but I definitely believe that's true, but it's that same mistake again where people are judging the entire system by one component, and that you cannot do. And Craig, it would be like the example you gave with the car where, okay, we both go to the same engine manufacturer and we get the same engine architecture, except for, like Rock said, I got 500 horsepower, you got 650 horsepower, and everybody thinking, okay, well, he has the bigger engine, so we're gonna be faster. Like, hold up, motherfucker, you don't
know about the transmission.
Yeah. I'm
doing Craig settled for automatic.
Exactly.
he got a race car that's automatic. Like, what?
There's way more to the system than just the engine. And people keep comparing these GPU specs as if that is the strength of the entire thing. Yeah. Sony has, well, I guess I should be quiet on this part, but there is way more stuff to the PlayStation that is publicly known, and they not scared, they not worried. Matter of fact, they sleeping good at night knowing that they are not going to be outclassed in no areas. Okay.
Yeah, but they didn't disclose stuff.
RDNA 3 confirmed.
Oh, by who?
Oh, snap!
No, I mean, look, my whole thing is that. But why does that translate to? How did we get to the point where somebody like you, Code, went on to multiple podcasts with your experience in the business, in development, and get totally you got crucified. It was Father, they have forsaken me or whatever. It's terrible.
Well, because I mean, so again, it's that same example. If you, Craig, right now, if somebody says, okay, the 3090 is going to be better than the 3080,
I would say based on what?
Right, just because that's the way things normally pan out. Like Rock said, if it's an engine with 500 horsepower and one with 650, you're going to think the one with 650 is going to be more powerful. That's just natural. Like, I mean, I'm confused by your question, Craig. Like, if you have an SSD that's 400 gigabytes and you have one that's a terabyte, which one is bigger? Like, you're not confused.
But that's you can look at those numbers and be like, oh, sure, this one is bigger. But no, that's why I keep on bringing up the car thing, because you don't know. You can put it on paper,
but you did know the numbers. You know what the numbers are, and so that's what sets the expectations. And you're right that while we're waiting for the real world results, we can't know for sure until we get the real world results. But you're saying that we can't even expect nothing until we get the results, and that's just
no. Okay, well, let me rephrase it. People should not run with their daggone, with their junk hanging out. Yeah, with that type of pretext. And then if you're wrong, don't have the balls to come out and say, "Hey, I got this wrong." I mean, that's true. That's true. And so I don't care what it.
The question you asked earlier was like, where are they getting this from? And I'm saying it's perfectly reasonable to expect the higher numbers to be better.
Well, no, all right. Well, I get that, but it's like when Mark Cerny did his Road to PlayStation Code, and he was saying, well, developers can stream assets in and not put as much stress on the CPU and GPU. And I remember specifically saying, I don't understand how that would work, because if my character is in the kitchen and he wants to go to the outside, they're going to stream that in. How do they even know I'm going to go? But I questioned it until I had proof of concept with that Unreal 5 thing. I'm like, oh, what Mark Cerny said does it. Here it is. So now we have proof of concept. Like I said, I've been watching this thing on Disney Plus about the NASA rocket program, the Mercury program. They did not just come out and say, yeah, all this shit's going to work. They tested it, got the numbers and said, okay, here's what we can expect in this reasonable range. I just don't know how we got to the point where people, like you were saying, Cole, people can look at it and say, okay, that looks good on paper, but can we at least wait and see what we get in the hardware? Because we didn't know what anything was going to do.
Yeah, we in alignment there. The part where we differ, Craig, is you're saying that it's unreasonable for people to have these expectations based on the numbers. And I'm saying it's fine to have those expectations, but you just have to know that those numbers are aspirational. We don't know what's going to actually happen till you hit the real world, so you temper your expectations.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing. Why do you think expectations were tempered then? Why do you think it got to this point? Because at this point right now, all this stuff that's been sent to me, this is like cheap, busty material for the next 3 years. And I've been sitting on it. From recordings to...
Rock can answer that because he explained it to me, because people are fighting a battle from 7 years ago and they can't let it go. And
for pity's sake.
They can't. Well, they can't let 2013 go. Like, they can't just simply say, Microsoft screwed up by trying to go the TV route and multimedia entertainment when the Xbox One first came out. They can't just admit that. They just can't. No, they have to blame Sony. Like it's Sony's fault that this whole thing happened. Like no, Microsoft was the one that came out and talked about TV. That's not Sony. If Xbox One was a pure $500 console, just built-in tech, it would have been a better built console than the PS4. But $150 worth of tech was that stupid camera, which did nothing for the brand.
Yep.
And that's not Sony's fault.
And then that DRM stuff too, Rock. Don't forget that DRM.
Yeah.
Yes, I think the DRM was the most damaging. The camera thing I actually thought was ahead of its time.
It's trash.
That's a great idea.
No, it's trash.
No, it wasn't
it's
trash. They're doing that now.
It's trash.
They're doing that now.
It's trash.
Okay, well, it's trash.
It's trash.
But look,
it's trash. I'm going to tell you why it's trash. I'm going to tell you why it's trash. Because it's associated to a gaming console. So what did it do for gaming?
Oh, well, it didn't have VR.
Exactly. So it's trash. It's trash. Ship that thing with a TV. Don't ship it with an Xbox.
Because when you can play Mass Effect and you can actually talk to that camera to your team to go do stuff.
So you can't do that on a headset?
Well, I mean, not at the time.
So you're gonna pay $150 to do the job of a $10 headset? That ain't Craig. Don't down this hill, Craig. Because I crushed fanboys who loved the Kinect, and I destroyed them. You don't go there, Craig. Let me tell you something. I had dudes who literally told me this shit is dope because they can Skype to their families. I'm like, bro. But I asked them, yo. But then when they said that, I'm like, hey, I'm like, bro, what kind of phone you have? Oh, I got an iPhone. Other dudes, I got a iOS, Samsung. I'm like, cool. You can Skype on that. And you know what's the best part? You can walk outside with it. You're not stuck on a couch. Like, what is you doing? Like PCs from 2001 used to be stuck on Skyping at a chair. Like, come on, bro. Like, Kinect was trash. It was a stupid concept. Anyway, shout out to Ramon Terrell. He says, thank you for the super chat. He says, sup, P-Rock and Code. Always appreciate the tech perspective. All y'all be having me in stitches. Well,
I mean, the thing is that they now have a game running at not 1080p, but 1188p. So I'm going to have some T-shirts made up for my podcast that says 1188p make you a better gamer, and they can come and buy it. I'll do it 2 for 1. I also have a pillow in case their cheeks get busted, so they can sit on that. So they have the shirt and the pillow they can sit on. Everybody should be happy. But no, I think the camera was.
Craig, I got one thing to say to you, man. I don't think I'm gonna respond to you no more tonight. But I got one thing to say to you. Until you get a PS5, I don't want to hear you busting cheeks on nothing. Bust that mouse button, clicking on add to cart. The only thing you need to be busting is the add to cart click button.
I can't do it, man.
PS5. Nothing else.
I can't be well, I may have an update on the bag here in the next 5 days, so I'll just have to wait.
But the main thing with this whole power talk, like people are cold, right? And again, it's reasonable when you see specs to assume that this might perform better, because that's what technology is. When you got higher components, when you got more components and just features and stuff that leads towards overall gaming, it's reasonable. The problem is that they couldn't just leave the conversation at that. They tried to downplay the PS5 to the point where some were even calling it a next gen console.
18, remember?
Yeah. They weren't even calling it a next gen console. They said it's just a PS4 Pro.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
They called it 9.2 T flops. They called it 8 T flops. They called it RDNA 0, RDNA 1, 1.5, a hybrid of GCN,
a hybrid of PS4 technology.
Yeah.
Exactly. they added so much lies to just downplay, which doesn't make sense, right? Because these are the same people that tell you be nice, be happy. Everybody's a gamer at heart.
Just play your games.
Don't be toxic. Just play your games. While at the same time saying all this shit, which doesn't make sense, right? And the reason why I go at these dudes hard, right? Because I guarantee there are people, and I don't want to say they're gullible, but they're gullible. They don't know. They don't know the crumb side. They don't realize that there's that there's console warriors out there talking shit. They don't know. So they meet a personality for the first time, and they take them at face value. They're like, oh man, this guy said Xbox Series X is great. Yay, I love multiplats. I'ma get it. And the dude spent $4.99, and now the dude realizes this shit ain't running the games the best. And now not only is the games not the best, they ain't no fucking games.
Ain't no game.
They ain't no goddamn games. You know, my neighbors, I hear them all day swinging in New York City Spider-Man. What the fuck I got? Gears of War?
Exactly.
So, but those dudes who got screwed over, they're not going to go on Twitter and admit that because they're going to look stupid. So they're just going to stay shut and just deal with it. Some of them are just going to hope, you know.
They're just going to block you.
And then the other dudes, and then the other dudes, they moved on to a new narrative, which is tooling. Which, Optimus, you could talk about this better. They weren't trying to hear about that tool shit 5 months ago.
Yep. Exactly.
Yo, I went back and got the first tweet when I was trying to help teach the community about it. You can read, I was like, don't focus on this hardware. It was from March 27th. So for about 8 months, I was like, look, tools, dev skills, not hardware. Yeah. Nobody wanted to hear it, Rock. Now all of a sudden, everybody want to talk about tools. I'm like, ain't this some shit?
My man was like, listen, it's the tools that kids, compilers. Man, you better compile that bullshit over there. I got 12 T-flops. Yeah, boy. Compile that bullshit over there. Yo, they didn't want to hear it.
Said, P-Rock. Well, P-Rock, like you said, everybody has the stuff in their hands now. They have it in their home. So none of this matters anymore. Everybody can see this. So, you know, who are interested in it. I mean, there are a lot of people who are just playing their games. But, I just don't know how it, I mean, it's their own fault. I mean, these people, you know, created their own prison. So now they in there with their shower daddy. So I don't know what they're going to do about that. So, damn, that's a lot of games.
I just find it incredibly funny.
Throw in that bag.
That these guys spent a lot of time. The guys really spent a lot of time and effort trying to downplay the PS5 over a whole year, and all of a sudden now, you know, none of that stuff that they talked about can save them. Yeah. Nah, they back to the wait. And here's the thing about it. We spent a lot of years last generation waiting for something that never came. And here we are again, starting off the generation waiting. At what point do people say, I can no longer wait anymore? Is there a tipping point?
You want the truth? And let me do this. A shout out to Carl Crespin. He said Xbox getting KO like Nate Robinson. Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Damn. Yo, hit the like button for that one. Here's the thing, right? The people right now still rocking Xbox. And there's nothing wrong with it, right? But the people still rocking Xbox, right? Or still buying it are the hardcore Xbox gamers. And those guys, majority of them, they're invested because of the ecosystem. They spent so much money in the past, and Microsoft gave them an incentive to stay in the Xbox ecosystem because now they could play all the games they purchased throughout their whole lifespan. I completely understand that, right? Because that's why I'm on iPhone. I bought way too much shit to move to another fucking ecosystem. When at the end of the day, all I'm gonna do is talk shit on Twitter, some Facebook, take some pictures, and some emails. I don't really do anything that advanced that I need to buy the next shit hot Samsung. I don't do anything that crazy. It's good. I pretty much do the same shit. So why not stay in the same ecosystem?
Anyway,
true that. But I spent that much money on it, so I could understand staying in the same ecosystem where you have friends you've been rocking out for more than 10 years, playing on there. You got all these games. You could know everything's there. So all you're really doing is just taking the experience you enjoy for years, and you're just upgrading it. I get that, and that's all they had to say, right? But that's the hardcore.
Yep.
You're starting seeing less demand for Xbox and more demand for PS5 because of those things. People are noticing. People are actually noticing now. Even Xbox gamers. There's a lot of Xbox gamers that are like, I'm done. Because they started seeing the bullshit and they're tired of it. Right? They started seeing that, for 4 or 5 years, there's no games. And the rumor was, that's because they're prepping for the next gen. Well, next gen's here and there's still no games. There's not even a clue when these games are coming out. Like, nothing. And then they hide power, still didn't get it, and then a lot of dudes are done. They're like, there's no point. Because them going over to PS5, they don't lose out on anything. They still get to play the same multiplats, but at least they know Sony creates bangers. That's not a wait. You know that's what they do. That's what Sony does. Sony, every single console gen, they just create bangers, right? So you're going to notice that in sales. You're going to see, because everybody could talk a big game on Twitter, but the real talk is what you put your money on. Will you put your money down on what you say? And you're going to see when these PS5s are flying off shelves, when you see these MPDs slaughtering, yo, don't be surprised if PS4 in one of these months outsell Xbox Series X in February or March. That shit's going to be alright. And it's happened before. It's not like it's a new thing. PlayStation 2 outsold Xbox 360 for the first year it was out.
Yep.
It happens. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to get the games, man. You got to get the games.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? You got to have the games. And Xbox is not doing that. But PlayStation, right now, so let's talk on a quick topic, right? Well, let's talk about this before we move on. So you got Xbox influencers now making up lies. So let me put that tweet back up about Dark X1. And, these dudes are something else. But look at this. So someone made a tweet saying that Dark X1, from Digital Foundry, saying after extensive testing, Assassin's Creed Valhalla runs better on Xbox Series X and S than the PS5 by a significant margin after the recent patch from Ubisoft. Congratulations to the team for learning to utilize the hardware in such a short time. That's what they wrote, right? And Lehman says, if you see this floating around, it's fake and also wrong. Their biggest mistake was using a hashtag. I really don't do that. Amazing to see the hoops people jump through, right?
Wow.
So now so it's got to the point where you have to fake that your console's great. Now here's my question. Right?
Oh wait, Rock, you leaving out one thing before you ask the question.
What's up?
They also are taking real life photographs and saying that this was captured on the series.
No, they didn't. No, they're not.
Wow.
Yeah, they did, bro.
Oh my God, yo. So here's the thing, right? Let's be honest, right? People paid $4.99 for these Xboxes, right? That's real money, right? Maybe these guys are kids and their parents bought it for them, whatever. But how can these guys go to these lengths of lying and now taking pictures of real life, pretending the Xbox Series X is doing it, when in reality they gave Microsoft $499, but Microsoft did not give them the console that they were hyping? So do these guys not feel that they got ripped off? Like, I would feel ripped off. Like if I ignored all the PlayStation dudes, if I ignored Optimus Code, and I'm listening to Code, Dealer, D-Badge, and they're having serious conversations, I'm in the chat on their podcast, and they're telling me, oh man, 50 frame difference, VRS, all this shit. And I'm taking them seriously because people are telling me they're not fanboys, they're great podcasts, they play great information. I'm like, cool, man, I'm going to get the Series X. Then I see a tweet from D-Batch on October saying, confirmed, Valhalla runs better on PS5. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, we 2 weeks away. I'm ignoring PlayStation trolls because they're toxic, the most toxic community, because Tim Dog told me so. All these dudes are warning me, and I'm like, hell yeah, X, best on X. I buy the motherfucker. I pay $4.99. I'm standing outside all day. I got my shit. And I post a picture. And I show the box. And I'm like, man, this packaging is beautiful. Man, best packaging I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God. They really went premium packaging. Oh my God, this shit is amazing. I plug my shit in. I'm enjoying it. I'm like, cool, the games are fun. Let me check Digital Foundry. And then I see Digital Foundry. PlayStation 5 runs better than Series X. And I'm like,
it wasn't just there.
And I'm like, no, hold on. We gotta finish the story. And I'm like, all right, let me see the Watch Dog Legion. Ray tracing a little bit better, performs better on PlayStation 5. And I'm like, the fuck is going on here? Like, what the fuck? Devil May Cry performs better at higher frame rates. I'm like, what the fuck? And then Digital Foundry, Spider-Man, best example of ray tracing being used out right now. And I'm like, what the fuck? They told me PS5 was using software ray tracing. Exactly. And then I go to D-Batch. I'm like, yo, D-Batch, what happened, man? Oh, it's because the tools ain't ready. Bitch, you couldn't tell me that shit 5 months ago. I paid $4.99 now. Exactly. No one told me. Do you think Microsoft? You think I told Microsoft? Well, you need to wait for $4.99 since I have to wait for graphics and shit. No, they got my money now. And now you guys want to talk about tooling? I pay $4.99 right now. Where is my better version of games now? And they didn't get it, and nobody's pissed off at that. I will flip the fuck out. Yo, I will go to Canada and throw that Series X at his face and smash it on his face. I'll be like, yo, bro, like y'all dudes are all fucked up because y'all sold some shit to me, and I didn't get it, and y'all be like, oh yeah, it's because of tools. Then why didn't you say so for months to let the consumers know what proper decision to make? But these dudes ain't doing that. Actually, they're faking it. So what do y'all think about that? Like, yo, Optimus, if I sold you some shit for $4.99, if I sold you Blue Magic and you found out it was fucking flour, what would you do?
Hey, we gonna have to have a conversation.
I show you a bag of flour.
We gonna have to have a conversation. Me, you, and a couple of my people gonna have to have a conversation.
There'll be some legs broken up in this. Yo, somebody with it's crazy. This shit is. Like, yo, I don't understand this shit, right? And people talk about toxic, like J-Dub's toxic, whatever. All we do is talk shit. But I will never screw over your money that you earn or the money your parents earn to buy you something. I ain't gonna lie to you. Fuck, I gotta lie to you for to buy a product. I'm not the one that making the consoles. Yo, there's dudes that ask me, yo, which console I should get. You know, PlayStation, you know, I was an Xbox fan, but should I get the PlayStation? I just tell them, why are you interested in the PlayStation? Oh, because I heard the games are good, whatever. I'm like, if you're interested in the games, in the exclusives, then you'll get a PlayStation. You know, that's cool, right? But are you gonna play all of them? Do you have friends? Do you ever own a PlayStation? You know, do you like Call of Duty, whatever? You know, I try to reason them so that way, because some people make, you know, quick decisions because the heat of the moment on social media gets to people. So I try to set them back. I try to remind them, what about your friends? What about all those good times? And some of them be like, yo, know what? I remember. Yeah, that's right, man. And then they'll be like, yeah, I'm going to get an Xbox. I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with that. But guess what? You could always get a PS5 later. You know, there's no rule that says you can only stick with one console. You know, the prices will go down. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to get an Xbox now. Later on, I'll get a PS5. And there you go.
Porter Rock, here's the problem.
I ain't going to screw people over to get a PS5. You know, like, I understand the heat of the moment. You see Miles Morales, it's flashy, and you be like, oh, you know, but reel it back a little bit. There's time to get these consoles. There's always time to get, a second platform later on at a cheaper price. You don't have to rush the gun. Remember what you enjoy gaming for.
Yeah. Let me break some news real fast before I go here. The McRib is back. I don't know if people know this. This is breaking news.
Freak.
Who's back?
The McRib.
What's back?
The McRib's back.
Oh,
the McRib's back.
The McRib and Mass Effect. That's all he cares about.
Yeah. I mean, it's back. It's back, baby. But I do have to go. I do have to get up in the morning and go. But hey, guys, good hanging out with you. And
definitely
remember, play the game.
A lot of these dudes are like, damn, P-Rock pointed that man in the wrong direction. I'm gonna tell you the truth, right? You could play the best exclusives in the world, but it will never ever compete with playing with your friends for hours and hours. It's just not. You know, when you play with your boys and you guys have, that's why most people play Call of Duty and 2K and Madden, because they play with their friends and they talk shit all day and they just love the shit out of it. Like, it's just something when you play with your peeps, a game, and you have your crew and you're out there just doing it up, and they talk shit about girls or problems, or if you're a married man, you talk shit about your wives and you hate your wives or you love your wives, or you be like, man, fuck these kids. You know, you just a lot of people, especially adults, they now found a way to vent to other people while playing games and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And exclusives will never beat that. You know, that you know, talking to people, chilling with people, talking shit, you know, partying it up, you know, is a great feeling, you know. So I remind dudes to do that. Now, some dudes come at me, hey, I'm thinking I got a PS5. I'm like, hey, remember Xbox? Man, fuck Xbox. Fuck my friends. Fuck this console. Fuck Phil Spencer. Fuck that dude Zaire. I'm getting a PS5. I'm like, all right, it sounds like you already made your decision. I'm like, I guess I didn't have to convince you. You know, some dudes are like, I'm done with this bullshit. You know, and there's dudes like that and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So now, hey, let's talk about something PlayStation game related. So once again, man, Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid keeps popping up, right? And the rumor has it that in the game Demon Souls, I haven't looked up the part, but there's this part they're saying that in the background they hear a noise and it sounds like Metal Gear Ray from Metal Gear Solid. Like one of the monsters sounds like Metal Gear. And they're thinking that it's a teaser that Blue Point's next project is, in fact, a remake of Metal Gear Solid 1. How will you guys react to that if Blue Point does announce that? Exclusively for PlayStation. Metal Gear Solid remake.
That'll be from my standpoint, that'll be fucking epic. Seeing what these guys just did with Demon Souls, and that game is a 90 plus Metacritic game. That's music to my ears, man. I think that's what everybody. That's an automatic classic right there.
Optimus, how about you? You ever played Metal Gear Solid 1?
I played Metal Gear before you was born, bro. Come on now.
Whoa. That's not possible because the game came out while I was alive. And I played it.
You probably talking about Metal Gear Solid, not the original.
No, I'm talking about Metal Gear. The original.
Okay, that's what's up.
I go back. I ain't that young. Damn.
So, I have to tread real carefully here. I have seen the YouTube video from the dude where he's saying it's probably gonna be Metal Gear and Silent Hills, and I think that's a good video. I'm fairly certain that there will be 2 unannounced games that are really big. I don't know if it will be those 2 or at least, but I think it will at least be one of those 2. And I'm very excited because y'all got to keep in mind this is in addition to Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West. So it's not like they later on, like these are supposed to drop next year, like next month. Well, not next month really, but basically not very far from now, we gonna have 4 AAA games hidden for PS5. And of course I'm excited about that. Who wouldn't be? Anybody that's a gamer that wants gaming experiences will be mad excited about that.
Okay. But I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you this, man. If those games, if they are PlayStation 5 exclusive or PlayStation exclusive or whatever, that is going to show the the gap between Xbox and PlayStation even more so now than what it is. It just shows a huge gap in games, quality of games, and just the amount of content that's coming out that's already been revealed. Do we know when the next Xbox game is dropping? I mean, do we really know that? I don't think anybody has a clue on when those games are coming out or when the next Xbox game is coming out.
Yeah.
So I think they're shooting for Halo 2021 is what they said, but like nothing's been announced. Jay, like you said. So
that's what I'm saying. No, we just literally don't know. Whereas we know, we're going to be getting the Gran Turismo 7, like you said, the God of Wars, the Horizon Forbidden West, Final Fantasy, Ratchet and Clank, Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Part 2, on and on and on. I mean, just a long list of
unannounced titles, AAA.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks like, and that's one reason I really like Sony, not only as a platform but as a company, because they go up and beyond to make sure that I have consistent, high quality content on my platform, and it's not. I'm sitting there. I'm not saying let's wait. I'm saying wait for Herman Hulse or wait for Jim Ryan or waiting for Comic-Con or some shit like that. It just shows a big disparity, man.
Well, Jay, so let me ask you, because it took a while for them to get to rolling to that level.
Yeah, right? Hey, absolutely.
So there was a point where even as a PlayStation fan, you had to wait. Although they had a lot of them good like JRPGs that I like, and they had some third party deals and stuff. Yeah. So it was always something to do, but they wasn't hidden like they hidden now.
No, I absolutely agree. But when they wasn't hidden, like you said, they had the indie titles. They had the VR titles.
That's true.
They had the third-party marketing deals. They had the AA titles, and they had it was something. It just, you just weren't sitting there twiddling your thumbs, begging these guys to give you something to play, or we weren't playing. I mean, the same game for the last 5 years, still waiting. You see what I'm saying? But you got guys right now on the Xbox. Yeah. I mean, you ask, hey, what are you playing? Oh, I'm playing Forza Horizon, or Forza 7, or Gears 4, or Gears 5, or And I get it; those are good games, right? But god damn, deep down in your heart, you want something new. You did not anticipate buying this brand new $500 console with having Halo being delayed until we don't know when, and not having anything else in its place, right? You got the Falconeer, for those who like that, but come on, man. When I'm playing Miles Morales, you ain't posting screenshots of the Falconeer.
So how would you compare the Falconeer to the Pathless? Because I haven't played that one yet either. To me, they in the same category. But it's like it's a side dish on the PlayStation, not the main.
Exactly. Well, and that goes back to my point, right? Even Sony's, I'm not going to say they're worse, but even their side dishes, even games that they don't really, even Bug Snacks got an 80. You see what I'm saying? Even something that people.
Bug Snacks. I don't want to hear no Bug Snack slander.
Optimus loves his Bug Snacks. He's like, he ain't trying to hear that shit.
I like it too. But it's funny how that was trash upon, right? And even Sony's like,
well, that was your fault, Jay. People was trashing Bug Snacks because of how you was on Grounded. All of that was because of you.
That's absolutely, you absolutely right. You absolutely right. Yeah. But it's funny, right? How even Sony's like games that nobody care about turn out a higher quality and better than a lot of games that Microsoft hyped up or the Xbox fan base hyped up. And I think it all goes back to not only quality, but management. I don't care how many studios they bought or how many companies they buy. They have a management problem. Mm-hmm. Somebody is not managing that talent and that stuff. And that reveals itself in the lower Metacritic scores, the lower, people playing the game. We had Bleeding Edge. There was like 3 people playing it one day. They reported on Twitter or whatever. One of the big media reported only 3 people playing that game. And Phil saw fit to allow that game to release. The same with Battletoads, released without online, and so on and so on and so on. So, like I said, the disparity.
Well, go ahead, Rock. My bad.
I would say shout out to Mr. Righteous Fish. He says, I guess this was pertaining to the rumors of Metal Gear, Silent Hill. He says, if true, it's over, gen done. And you know what's funny? As far as that's a good point, because Sony did this one time before, and it was during the PlayStation 2 era, right? Within the first year, you had Grand Theft Auto 3, Twisted Metal Black, Gran Turismo 3, Final Fantasy X, Metal Gear Solid 2, Devil May Cry, Red Faction. It was like a year of just dominating games. And then the combination of Final Fantasy, Metal Gear, and Grand Theft Auto 3, that's it. It was over. People said, I'm getting a PlayStation 2. And that shit and that decision carried pretty much all the way throughout the rest of the gen. So Sony could potentially create a scenario where, like, if Microsoft doesn't do something quick, right? If their only 2021 answer is, okay, you might get the medium, right? And that's assuming it's not time exclusive, right? So, but you got the medium, you got Scorn. But if their only big game for 2021 doesn't come till the holiday, which is Halo, and before Halo comes, Sony throws out God of War, Horizon, maybe either Metal Gear or Silent Hill, and these other games, that's it. There's the people who did not buy a console in 2020 who waited. They're waiting for a reason. Like, people who are going to buy console in 2021, they're just sitting back. Yeah, they'll pay the $499, but they want to see the shit mature just a little bit. They really want to see how things really turn out. And right now, Xbox don't got the power. It doesn't look like it's going to have the games for a little while. And those dudes are just going to be like, you know what? I had a little bit more time to digest. I'm going to go for the PS5. You know what I'm saying? And that's and Xbox is entering that dangerous territory to where, like, too little, too late. You took too long to make your moves, and most people are like, yo, it's and that shit happens.
Porter Rock, you can.
Go ahead, Jay. My bad, Blair.
No, I was just saying you can only go so long with the hope in the hope and prayers, man. Like, eventually Microsoft's gonna have to release something. Maybe, hopefully, right? I'm hoping and praying that early next year they'll release some games, some good quality games that come out. But like you said, if they come out with Metal Gear and Silent Hills and stuff like that on top of the God of Wars and Gran Turismo 7 and there's nothing, I hate to say it, but there is nothing Microsoft can do to compete with that. There's nothing. I don't care what they buy. There is nothing, unless they buy PlayStation, the company itself. There is nothing they can do.
They say, you know why? We're done with this shit. We're buying Sony. That's it. We're done.
Facts.
We're done with the bullshit. Seriously.
How do you compete with that?
Oddly enough, and obviously it's a fantasy because the games ain't gonna be that soon. But like, if they would have released Fallout, Halo, Forza, Avowed, and Hellblade, or Fable, all in the same year, like, just flood the market with those big titles, that would make it competitive. But they're not doing that. They're nowhere near ready for that type of. That could maybe do 2022, 2023. They could probably have a great year of a lot of great titles, right? But if Sony comes out the game next year, and they don't delay their games, because Sony tends to delay because they really about quality. They have no problem delaying something. If it's not right, it's not right. It's gonna come out when it comes out, right? But if they don't delay their games, and hell, just God of War and Horizon the same year, and Gran Turismo the same year.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Right from jump. That's insane.
Ratchet and Clank, man. Don't forget Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, Ratchet and Clank. Oh my God. There's so many games that we're forgetting. Ratchet and Clank 2. That's another powerhouse. That's a pretty stacked deck, right? And here's the thing, the multiplats, right? Multiplats play an important role because those multiplats fill in the gaps between exclusives, right? So they fill in the gaps, right? So you're constantly having gaming. So when a person looks at it, they could be like, all right, if I get an Xbox, they have the multiplats, but outside from the multiplats, I don't see no big games in between. But while
wait a minute, Rob. Wait, I challenge that because I tried to have somebody convince me, like, what do you mean you say Xbox has the multiplats? Every multiplat that's on Xbox is on PlayStation except for Gears and Halo. I don't see nobody playing Gears and Halo like that.
So that's my point. That's my point. So like, when a person's ready to choose a console, right? They look at both consoles at the state that it's in. So if you got a 2021 gamer ready to buy a console, they're gonna look at the state of it is what it is right now, right? They're not gonna play the whole toolkit, wait for this, wait for that. They're gonna look at the Xbox at face value. They're gonna look at these consoles as face value for what it is, and they're gonna look at one side, be like, sure, this console got the multiplats, got Madden, got whatever, that's cool. But PlayStation, this console got the same multiplats, but on top of that, I see more choices. I could play Spider-Man, I could play Godfall, man, Gran Turismo 7, God of War, man, there's just so much more. I have to get this console. It would be ridiculous for me to choose this console and get so much less when I could just get another console, play the same multiplats, and have even more games on top of that. And the people are gonna see that choice. They're gonna see that stuff.
What you just said, Porter Rock, it proves you proved a major point right there, right? The difference between the frauds, because when you ask a lot of Xbox guys, why do you play on Xbox? Oh, because it has a better version of the multiplats. Well, now they no longer, at this point in time, have the better version of multiplats. Yet they got an X Series X and not a PlayStation, and they're not going to change anytime soon. That means their whole argument for owning the Xbox all last generation is out the window.
Yeah, but they should have stuck with the honest truth. They just like playing on Xbox.
So just say I like Xbox. I like it. That's just what I want to play. And
all my peeps are there. I've been playing it since 2001, and I just love the ecosystem, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
As a gamer, as a gamer? How do you not want to play God of War and Spider-Man and all of these? Like, I just don't understand it. How?
And you could play those games when the console gets cheaper. You could be like, at launch, I'm going to buy an Xbox Series X because that's where I spend most of my time. And then when the PS5 gets cheaper, I'm going to get the PS5 and I'm going to play those great games. And that's it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Just being honest. But these dudes, what it is it's all about one-upping people. Because again, like Optimus said, and like we discussed, it's all about what happened in 2013. These Xbox dudes, when they won their 360, they were riding high. They were riding the console. People think the console war started. Like, hell no. Console war's been going on for ages, right? But the Xbox versus PlayStation console war, that shit started the moment Xbox came out. That shit was not a new thing. That shit was never, but the only thing is, because they didn't have Twitter, we didn't have Facebook. Shit, we had Black Planet and fucking... What was the Latin one? Mi Gente. We had Black Planet, Mi Gente. That was it. And nobody was.
Planet, you went way back.
Yeah, right. We had Black Planet and Mi Gente, and nobody was talking shit on there or consoles. We were all just trying to get laid. Right? That's all everybody was trying to do with shit. Right? Everybody was trying to get laid over Black Planet and Mi Gente. There's a lot of young cats in the chat like, what the hell's Black Planet? Like, look it up. Those days, those were the days, bro. That was
pre-Facebook.
I'm telling you, bro, the internet blew up because of that shit. In AOL chat rooms, right? But so we didn't really have a huge social media presence to really take console war to the next level, right? But over time, as you know, we started getting Twitter, Facebook, and shit like that, YouTube. Now you have this whole huge community of console warring and shit talking 24/7 nonstop, and people think it's a new thing. Like, no, man. I remember people talking shit about, you know, OG Xbox having a better version of multiplats over PS2, and the PS2 guys would say, all your games is on PC, so get out of here. Like, you ain't got no console, you gotta get out of here and shit like that. And you know, Halo, all that shit, Tears of War, all that old shit, right? But 360 really put, you know, 360 is a great console. It's no doubt a great console, right? Of course, like anything else that is issues, but it was a great console. It did what a console was supposed to do. Come out with exclusives, get those timed exclusives, you know, extra content on the multiplats, and just have a great time and great titles, right? And it did that. So the Xbox guys were riding high on that wave, talking shit, you know, talking shit on PlayStation gamers, all that shit. And it is what it is, right? That shit flipped. The script got flipped real quick in 2013. Like, almost with a snap of a finger. It's almost as if God was a PlayStation fan. He's like, man, I had enough of this bullshit. Snap. You got the Xbox One. Congratulations. Deal with it, right? And they just can't let it go. And yo, Craig, I mean, no, not Craig. J-Dub, you heard in the podcast. Remember Grid? Maybe like 2 months ago? Oh, don't worry. Back in 2013. And we were like, 2013? Like, oh,
they got so scarred. I'm telling you, they got so scarred. 2013 scarred these guys. They're scarred. That shit's crazy, man. They won't let 2013 go. And it's like, okay.
I have to say this every time. You are partially correct, but it's not 2013. It's 2013 combined with tweets from you every fucking day. Won't let them forget. It ain't that they don't forget because they ain't trying shit. You won't let them forget, and you know it. I blame you for all of it.
Big flex.
Yo, you know. But I think right now though, how could Microsoft have repeated the same mistake, releasing a new console with no games? And what I mean is, 2017 they released the One X. And it had no new game to really show off.
No game.
This One X system.
No, I said Rise and
Rise?
What? No. X1X.
X1X.
2017.
Oh, yeah, the One X, 2017.
Not the Xbox One.
Yeah, the One X.
Yeah.
So they decided to release the Beast, 16 flops, but they released nothing with it. So people standing around like, okay, you got the, you know, better version of multiplats sometimes, most of the times, whatever. But where's the big new game? And they did it again with the Series X. They released the sucker with no big game. And it's like, that shit gets old fast. Like, who's really, like, on the Series X, you're like playing, I don't know what the hell they're playing, to be honest. I keep hearing,
I have no idea.
I keep hearing Gears of War, but ain't that many people playing that. Optimus Cole proved that bullshit was a lie.
When you look at your friends list, none of them motherfuckers playing Gears. So let's We know what it is, right? It's the Netflix and the Codys. That's what's being played.
Oh man, it's just crazy, man. You know, I'm just saying with PlayStation. So let me ask you this, Optimus, because I meant to ask you this, right? But then Craig stepped in, and then we went on this whole tangent. So let me go back to the side point. Before this point, my man Game O'Malley, he says fakers like Colt Dealer Rand lie for years is sad. They're about growing on YouTube using games as content. They don't care to keep it 100. Sup P and J. Oh shit, Game O'Malley, tired of the bullshit. And that's €5. So you know he's talking shit over the Atlantic. He's done with this bullshit. My man's calling them a bunch of. He will call them a bunch of cunts. They love saying that word in English. You bloody cunt. I'm like, yo, shit is hilarious. Yo, it's funny. Even the females when they say it, that shit is funny. But I'm gonna ask Optimus Code this question because I meant to ask this and then I completely forgot, but now I remember again. So week after week, we're gonna continue to see these face-offs, right? As games comes out, and chances are, you know, I mean, it's going to be a game-by-game basis, but chances are we might still see PlayStation 5 on top for a little while, right? How long do you think before?
Yeah.
How long in just your experience and just general guessing? How long do you think it's going to take for the toolings to mature and these guys really get in the groove and utilizing all these instruction sets to really get the best out of these consoles? Like, how long reasonably do you think gamers will see the results from this labor of love?
Man, Rock, that's a
wait till E3.
Ooh.
Wait till E3.
Wait till E3.
Wait till E3.
We don't even know if it's gonna be another E3.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's so dependent, Rock. It's really difficult for me to say. It's gonna depend on the dev team and what they're trying to do. Do they need low-level access? Is Microsoft's high-level stuff improved? But let's just say, push come to shove, let's just say about a year and a half to 2 years minimum. Minimum.
Now let me ask you this:
before they rocking and rolling with
it. So let's say a year and a half to 2 years. Let's say 2 years. They're usually even number 2 years. Does that mean the games from now to 2 years they could patch and get proven good, or does that mean 2 years they understand the tool sets? Now we have to wait another 2, 3, 4 years for the games to come out based on what they just learned. You see what I'm saying?
It's the first one. They will be learning as they go.
So everything,
the game will reflect what they are learning in the next couple of years.
So it grows at the same time. So it grows at the same time. Okay. Because I was nervous about that, right? Because I wasn't sure. So that's why I wanted to ask you. I'm like, wait a minute. So does it mean like if they learn the tools, does that mean the games will get better along the way? Or does it mean, I know the toolbox, now I'm going to start to make the game that looks better, which means in 4 years, you'll see the game. I was like, man, I wasn't sure about that.
It's the first one.
Okay.
They happen at the same time. But like as with all the other stuff, right, like the next game this generation is going to be way better.
Okay.
Because, it's just the regular stuff.
All right.
But here's the caveat, though, Porter Rock, right? While Microsoft and their devs are, the devs are working out the kinks and trying to learn the new architecture and learn the new system, what do you think is going to be going on Sony's end?
Well, they're doing the same thing, yeah.
They're going to be doing the exact same thing. Their tools are going to be maturing, and so we don't know, right? We just may continue to see what's going on now for a long time because, the developers at Ubisoft is learning the PS5 the same way they're learning it with the X1X. I mean, the X Series X.
Another question. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rob.
No. Go ahead. Just answer his point because I got another question. So if you're going to say something,
Jay, it's even worse than what you just said is because on the PlayStation they have to learn the PS5 and nothing else. They already know PS4.
Yep.
So they have to learn PS5, and if they're going to make it cross-gen, they use what they already know for PS4, then they get to focus on PS5.
Yep.
That's already a huge advantage because on the Xbox, is what one of y'all said earlier, I think it was you, Jay.
Right. Yeah.
They got to do the Series X, the Series S.
And PC.
The One S, the One X, and then a bunch of different configurations for PC.
NVIDIA and AMD, and not just the new NVIDIA. They still have to cater to like the old
shit.
Like the Vega architecture. They still have to deal with that.
So, and that's why. So, and because of that, that's what Microsoft is saying. Microsoft is saying, hey, do not optimize for each one of them individually. Use this thing that we made called the GDK.
Yeah.
Use this and you build your game one time and then let the GDK do all the magic to optimize it for each platform. And what devs are finding out is like, nah,
it don't work
we need
that
to
way.
do it ourselves. And so like it's okay. Like, you know, it's not like a 300 frame difference, right? Like it's like 60 frames on the PS5, but it might be like 52 on the Xbox, right? So like, and which is a noticeable difference. But the point is, like, it's not shabby by any means. But if you had direct access to the metal like they do on PlayStation, you can squeeze out them extra 8 frames. So here's what I say to that, Jay. Anybody who was expecting the Series X to eventually have this big gap lead,
no 40 to 50 frame deltas.
Bro, stop that.
You saw it, man. You saw it.
Anybody that's expecting,
I showed you.
Gonna be disappointed. Anybody who expects them to be neck for neck, some games better over here, some games better over there, that's probably the most reasonable expectation. But do not count out that the PS5 will continue to outperform. That is also a possibility.
You know the sad part about it, Code, is that PlayStation we really don't give a fuck, right? We got the exclusives. That's what's really near and dear to our heart is the exclusive bangers. The multiplats, okay, cool. You're supposed to win, right? It's you fucking 12 T-flops. But it's laughable and it's ironic how things have turned out. Not only do you not have any exclusives, but now you don't even have the better version. So you regress backwards with more power. That's the funny thing about the whole situation. That's
funny for. Here's the thing. That is funny for the Xbox. The extremists, but it's not funny for the regular Xbox fan.
For those that were really expecting that. You know, but I think they just fell into the hype and got overpromised. Like I just, you know, you always gotta expect the worst. You know, hope for the best, but expect the worst. Like it's just.
Can we finally start placing blame on stuff on people? Because right now, all of this stuff that's going on with Xbox, them not being ready, them, you know, having all these issues. And it seems like everyone tiptoes around when it comes to blaming somebody for this, right? This $1 trillion company, with all these promises that were made to the gamers. We hear you. The gamers in mind. We know what you want. We're gonna give it to you. We got the world's most powerful console. We got all of this and all of that. And here we are. What a month, going on a month into having these consoles. We have no games in sight that's coming for the Xbox. The performance is worse than what's on the competing platform. Somebody should have to answer for that. And I want to say, I believe it's Phil Spencer's fault. That's just me. He's the head, right? He's the head of that division. He runs that division. We need to start putting his name out there, saying this guy is to blame for that.
Let me ask you something.
He needs to fix it.
You brought up because you bring up Phil Spencer. So recently he talked about tribalism. Have you ever read about that? Now, let's be honest. Do you really think he's talking about PlayStation gamers or Nintendo gamers? Do you get a sense that Phil knows who his fan base really is?
He know.
Because I can understand in general sense tribalism, right? But I think we all witnessed that these Xbox dudes, right? They take it to a whole new level. That's like, whoa. Like I guess now they're taking real life pictures, lying to everybody that they're like PlayStation dudes don't do that shit. Like what we do, we take your shit, twist it around, and throw it back in your face and laugh because it's funny.
Exactly.
That's really what a PlayStation dude does. Like we take like because so many people say a lot of fake and lies that we just love taking those lies and reminding you that you lied, and it's funny. You You know what I'm saying? Like that's all it is. Receipts. We love receipts. It's funny as hell, right?
Man, take that victory lap.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But nobody on PlayStation is taking picture of the Eiffel Tower for real and saying, or the Empire State Building for real, and be like, oh look at these PS5 graphics. Like we ain't doing that.
Yep.
Like the game speaks for themselves, and that's how we do it, right? So, but let me ask you this, Optimus, and this is a tech question, right? And if you can't answer it now, maybe you can answer it next week, right? Because maybe you have to watch, maybe you have to revisit. But I remember this from Mark Cerny's demonstration a couple of months ago when he had his dev talk, right? And at the time, I didn't think much of it, and I'm like, whatever. But now it's starting to hit home, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm talking about. So, at a certain point in this dev talk, he said that PlayStation, he used the example of two similar GPUs that equal 4 T-flops, right? Yes. And what he tried to show was one 4 T-flop GPU had a higher CU count and lower clocks, right? And when you do the math, it comes out to 4 T-flops. And then another GPU had higher clocks and lower CU counts. And when you did the math, they're both 4 T-flops. But he said the one with the higher clocks outperformed the one with the higher CU count, even though they both equal 4 T-flops. They're both 4 T-flops GPUs, but he said the higher clocks was necessary to get the performance that PlayStation will not, and this is why the decision was, these clocks are so high. Can you speak on that? Do you have any... What he might be talking about? How two GPUs are both 4 T-flops, but the one with the higher clock and lower CU perform better, according to him. Yep. Do you have any idea or anything about that?
Yeah, I can speak to it, but it seemed like Jay got something he want to say.
Man, he's just gonna talk shit, man.
Listen, Mark Cerny said his reasoning behind it. He said because going with the higher CU count, he found it was harder to fill up those CUs. That's what he said. That was part of.
I want Optimus to talk. Break it down for me.
Go ahead.
Team, this is we a team, man.
I got it. I want to explain that shit to me because I'm dumb as hell.
Well, shoot, it's difficult to put in the lamest terms, but part of what Jay said is definitely part of it.
Okay.
So you need a CU is basically a compute unit, and what it does, it allows you to take multiple operations, because usually stuff that happens in the computer is sequential. Mm-hmm. Do this, when that's done, do the next thing. When that's done, do the next thing. And so everything is in a line, like at McDonald's. You in the line, the next in line. What the CUs are is, instead of waiting in one line, you can distribute. You can say, okay, you do A, you do B, you do C, you do D. And so it's like a McDonald's, but they got 52 lines that you can drive through, so everybody don't have to wait in that one line. Mm-hmm. It's 52 lines that you can get in.
Okay.
The problem is that after those 52 lines where you can go up to your drive-through and order your food, everything still has to squeeze back down in the one lane where you pick up your food at.
Okay.
Which would be the computer. So the computer is the CPU is the main boss that's dictating everything, and it's distributing tasks across the CUs. And then you got to go to the frame buffer and basically all this stuff has to happen. But the point is that if it's faster clocks with less CUs, you're doing more work per CU, but you're doing it faster. Okay. As opposed to having a wider. It's the difference in driving to, say I don't know where you are in Cali, but say you want to drive to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And you can have 5 cars that go 50 miles an hour on 5 lanes, or you can have 2 cars, but each car goes 100 miles an hour.
Okay.
And so it's how much work can we get back and forth from San Diego to Los Angeles over the same amount of time?
Okay.
And depending on what the workload is, sometimes going faster will benefit. Other times going wider will benefit. It just depends on the workload. Okay. But in general, the faster the car with the freer open road is going to do better, even though it's less of them, because they can move faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I see. So
go ahead.
Yeah. So just to clarify, so really, it's Sony's approach was they have less CUs, but because they went with the higher clocks, they're gonna get more out of the CUs. Is that a simpler?
In the CU in the same amount of time.
Yeah. Okay. Microsoft approach, they went with wider CUs, so more work to be done, but just the work's not gonna be done as fast. Is that
per CU? It's not going to be fast, but all of them together may be as fast or faster.
Now, so is there a chance that you may have 52 CUs, right? But for whatever reason, you don't, because like J-Dub did mention that Merc Sunny did say that the 4T flop, the one with the higher CUs, not all the CUs were fully, like they weren't able to get all the CUs to fully utilize. They just couldn't.
Yeah, you got to keep it fed.
And they couldn't keep it fed. So they're like, well, then what's the point of having all these CUs if you can't fully utilize them? So that's, to paraphrase.
Well, the thing
so is it possible that you got 52 CUs, but you never really fully utilize 52 CUs?
Not going to happen.
Well,
not going to happen?
Not going to happen.
Yeah. And from what I understand too, right? It depends on the developer. It depends on the engine. It depends on a various number of different things, right? We've seen engines be lighter and be able to run, 100 and some frames. But we've also seen some heavy engines that no matter what kind of GPU, look at Crysis. Remember that?
Yeah.
That
Crysis
game,
right now,
no matter what you threw at it.
The remaster.
Yeah, no matter what you threw at it, I mean, that motherfucker was just hard to do.
But yeah, but like if you put that on a 3080 right now, it'll breeze through Crysis with no problem.
Exactly, but look at what it took to get there. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about
a game that came out
a long time ago. Yeah.
Well,
it took you 10 years. It took you 15 years later, and in $1,500 later
to finally run Crysis at 60 frames. Quick, hey, Baltimore. So here's a question. So, what scenario that you could foresee where 52 CUs won't be fully utilized? Like what? Like
every single one, and that's what I'm saying. Like they're gonna fill up. Okay. They're gonna use all of that available compute all the time.
Okay,
that's not the problem. Keeping it fed is not the problem. They will be able to distribute work across all of them. The problem is parallel processing introduces its own set of problems that they have to solve for.
Okay.
And so you got this thing called task switching where, okay, I'm doing this, I'm working on this, but CU number one just completed its work. So let me pause this and go get what CU number one is talking about and do this. Okay, well now number four just chimed in. She ready. Let me go see what she talking about. So on back and forth. So you got to switch back and forth.
Oh, so it's like having a wife and two side chicks. You trying.
Yeah. But the point they'll keep it filled up. That's not the problem. The problem is parallel processing has its own set of challenges. And Jay was right on that part though. Some developers will be better at it, but the issue is not going to be keeping them fed. The issue is going to be being able to utilize the data that's coming off of them, having things in the right place for when the frame is ready to update.
Oh, okay.
Everything is computed and ready to draw. And like Jay said, different engines will do it differently, but none of it will be that they're not utilizing the CUs. It's what happens after that is the problem.
All right.
Again, which is what I'm saying. And this is why, like I've been stressing this point for months. It seemed like years, but it's only been months. You cannot look at just one component.
Yeah.
You have to look at the synergy of the entire system working together.
Okay.
What if the PlayStation has a bunch of extra tech from Wakanda that makes it really good at task switching with these higher clocks so that it is always performing at peak output? Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, just what if?
So higher clocks will help with that. I'm assuming.
Absolutely. One of the biggest things that AMD said for RDNA 2, and this is public knowledge at this point, is higher clocks.
Yep.
Higher clocks. That is a big advantage of RDNA 2.
AMD RDNA 2 cards.
By the way, Digital Foundry just did its card comparison with the 6800 and 6800X and 6900 or whatever, and the PS5 user.
The what? Say again.
So XT, I'm just saying those clocks are the same speed as those next generation cards.
So this
it's public knowledge that this clock, and that's not to be disputed.
That's correct.
So do what you want with that.
So, oh snap!
You have a 3-lane highway with a car that can move. You have 3 cars that can move at 100 miles an hour. Over here, you got a 10-lane highway, and you got 10 cars that can move at 50 miles an hour. In the course of a day, who can deliver more FedEx packages back and forth? Me with my 3 fleet of cars on my 3-lane highway going 100 miles an hour, or you with your 10? And it's going to depend on the packages, how many stops that they have to make, red lights. Like, it's just they are solving the same problem different ways. Neither one is inherently better than the other when it comes to this GPU clock stuff, which is what everybody loves to talk about. There's more to the PlayStation than the GPU. There's more to the Xbox than the GPU. The question is, which one of those systems where all of the pieces are working together in harmony with perfect synergy? That is the question, not which individual piece is bigger or better than the other one. How do they all work together? It's like a basketball team. Are we 5 players or are we one team? Rock, I know you know about teamwork being in the military. Are we 5 individuals or are we one team? That is the question.
So here's an interesting point somebody presented.
And guys really focusing on just the GPU.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So here's I received a message and I was like, let me have Optimus code. And so it's not even really a question, but something to point out. So AMD introduced a series, it's RDNA 2 cards, right? And it's, the RX 6900 XT, the 1600 XT, and all that. So all the RDNA 2 cards, right? But every single one of those RDNA 2 cards are clocked over 2 gigahertz.
Yep.
Every single one. And he pointed out, why is Xbox the only RDNA card that's clocked under 2 gigahertz?
Yes,
I have no answer for that.
And I'm like, I don't know. But don't you find that interesting? Technically speaking, the only RDNA 2 card, right, that's not clocked at 2 gigahertz or higher is the one in the Xbox consoles. Every other card, whether it's PlayStation or what people are going to use on PC, is clocked higher, 2 gigs or higher.
That's easy, Porter Rock. It's using RDNA 1.
Oh shit, man! So that's interesting. We need to figure that out. Hey, you got developers. See if you ask that question. See if any of your contacts can answer that. I never realized that.
Has been batted around a bunch of times. I just can't respond to it. I got nothing to say to that. I can't acknowledge that it is bizarre. And that's about all. That's
all you can say. That it is weird. So technically speaking, Xbox is the only RDNA platform that's clocked under 2 gigahertz. Everybody else clocked it over 2 gigs, which is interesting. That's an interesting point. So yeah. So I guess we'll leave it at that because my wife opened the door and she's like, "Dinner's ready," which means get my punk. Yeah, because I think if she opens that door up a third time, she's gonna act foolish. And I can't have her. I can't have her disrespect me in front of company. You know what I'm saying?
She ready to put that ski mask on for the PS5. You better hurry up and get in there, player.
For real, no shit, man. She was wilding out that day. I love that woman. Oh man, she was more mad than me. That's what made it funny. Oh, she was pissed off. Yo, it's funny. It was good times, but anyway. Yo, thank you everybody for rocking out, man. Hey, we're gonna say some shout outs right here. Hey, Optimus, tell them where they can find you.
Who you talking to?
To you, Optimus.
So you Man, people want to find me. They know how. If they don't want to find me, then good. It's probably safer if they don't find me. Right?
Hey, he's accepting all friends requests on PSN. Every single one of them.
That's not what I said.
And J-Dub, my man, where they can find you?
Yeah. You guys can find me on Twitter at JDubCity16. Trying to keep you guys laughing with the GIFs and the memes. You know what I mean? You can also go to my YouTube channel, JDub for you. Check out my content and stuff like that. A lot of gameplay, a lot of discussion.
Good job, Jay. The channel's starting to pick. I noticed you be throwing shade at Xbox while you playing, but you got some nice little content. You got some nice videos on there. I forgot to say I do be with Hard 8 on Sundays.
Yeah,
on Any Given Live. My fault, player.
Man, that's a good show, man. That shit, y'all two really hit it off with that one. That's some good shit.
Yeah, show, we'll see.
Yeah, Hardy's a funny character. He's a funny dude. He is a funny dude, man. He's a good dude. Funny dude, Hardy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, 8 is cool. 8 is definitely cool.
Yeah, man. All right, man. But thanks for rocking out with us on your way out. Don't forget to hit the like button. We'll see y'all next week, all right? Y'all take care. And don't forget, keep it gaming, all right? Always keep it gaming.
With your only friend in these YouTube streets.
Facts.